they're ranking for 372% more keywords, and the impressions on those keywords they've just shot up like over 1,000% increase, and clicks have increased by 4,000%. Like, these percentages are crazy. So this was Australia Day last year, and this was the Australian National Day this year. So obviously they're top there. That's a really nice graph, and yeah, even also we're ranking a lot more keywords in the top 3 positions, and also then on the first page in general. So again, increases of 600 to 500%, which is crazy.
Hi, I'm Kyle Roof, SEO and International Gentleman of Leisure. Welcome to Pop Insights from the Inside, where I decode the success stories of pop users to find out how they combine pop with their own SEO workflows to grow traffic. Today I have Julia from High Voltage SEO. We're going to dive into one of her client projects. Let's get started. All right. Welcome, Julia. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about a client that you have done some work on, and in particular, you've used pop with them. But tell us a little bit about your agency. And full disclosure, by the way, I did co-found this agency, and it's possibly one of the best agencies in the world, I would say.
I would agree. Definitely. So yes, I'm from High Voltage SEO. I'm the general manager there. Carl just said he's the co-founder. So nice to chat to you again. Yes, so High Voltage, we're an SEO agency. We have a scientific approach. So a lot of what we do, the methods we use on clients are fully tested based on scientific testing and Kyle's patent, US patent. And we've been using POP since you probably developed POP.
That's true. We were the original. We were the original
Yes,
user
exactly.
of POP. Tell us about what kind of clients do you typically work with right now?
Very super varied. So from smaller local clients like solicitors to enterprise clients in the SaaS and manufacturing industry. We've got a lot of e-commerce clients as well. So yeah, very varied. But every client has a bespoke strategy. So we don't use packages. We tailor the strategy bespoke for every client.
How would you say the company is structured in terms of how the services are provided? What's kind of the setup for how things typically go and how they flow through the company?
I think that's what makes us different as well, because usually we have the typical structure of senior strategist, technical team, account manager, but actually our account managers are all very skilled in SEO and live and breathe SEO. So everyone you speak to knows what they're talking about, can address your problems, but also there's this big team in the background, so we all can brainstorm if one person doesn't know the answer.
So let's get into this particular client. Can you give us a few words about what type of client they are, what they do kind of generally?
So our client is a trusted authority for Indigenous cultural awareness training in Australia. So they do online workshops and seminars, but also in-person workshops in Australia. And they're promoting allyship, basically, and educating people.
Okay. So, and where were they kind of SEO-wise before they contacted High Voltage?
They knew about SEO. They had never done it. But they wanted to get away from paid spend. Obviously, it can get expensive quite quickly, and they wanted a long-term strategy. And the goal was just to increase leads, increase awareness, because a lot of what they do is awareness-based.
Sure. And for this particular client, what type of budget are we talking about? Are we talking about, a couple thousand a month, 10,000 a month? Is this like an unlimited budget kind of situation, or is this like we got to figure some things out? We got to keep it tight and be effective.
Yes, this client works on a smaller budget, so we have to be creative, but they have a great internal team, so we can make a lot of suggestions and they can do a lot of the heavy lifting, and we lead the strategy.
Excellent. Okay, so let's get into kind of the workflow here. A bit about the strategy. So what was the strategy with this client? What were we trying to do, and what kind of timeline are we going with?
So this is a long-term client. They have been with us now for nearly 2 years. But when we started, we always start with an SEO audit, technical audit, making sure the website's okay. And then we get into keyword research straight away as well, seeing what keywords they want to rank for. So it's a bit of a back and forth with the client, because obviously we can advise from an SEO perspective, but then we always want to make sure it also fits their business goals and hits the right intent in terms of what they want to get out of the campaign. Once we've got keyword research, we started with on-page optimization. This is where POP comes in, optimizing relevant pages, and then schema markup. POP also advises us in terms of what schema markup to use, what's there, what competitors have, again, using POP. Then supporting content, so we built a lot of supporting pages for this client, link building, citations. So they've been with us a long time, even optimizing the Google My Business profile, coming up with a review strategy. So everything, the whole package, everything you can think of in terms of what you would do as a complete SEO strategy.
Sure. So you're basically kind of doing it all. Were there tasks each month, like you set a task for a month, or maybe a sprint, a 3-month sprint, or kind of how do you go about doing that?
Yes, so we work in points at the agency, so it's very transparent. The client knows how many points they have, what we do for those points, and we can be flexible with that as well. So that wasn't the case with this client, but should there be an algo update and we have to change strategy, we can just use the points to change the strategy. But with this client, it was fairly straightforward. And yeah, we worked on a point basis every month. So for this client, we changed between on-page optimization and then supporting content month by month.
So so you're doing on-page optimization each month. How does POP fit into that workflow?
It's the basis of it, to be honest. So we pick the target page, and then we start the workflow with POP. So we use the custom setup. So we choose the main keyword, secondary keywords, put them into POP. I've run this page before, so usually this would be empty so you can see it, but we're rerunning it just so I can show you. And yes, so this is new. We haven't actually used this on this client, but you set your target language, target location, always look at EAT signals, and then the NLP API as well, and target region, remember that one. Go to next. And that's where we get the competitors. So we basically use POP to make sure that we are optimizing for the right keyword, but also seeing that we are optimizing based on competitors that are ranking ahead of us. So we've chosen our own competitors here, but you can also let POP choose the competitors. These are our competitors. And then you pick your focus competitors. So these are the pages that are currently in the first free position for that keyword. So we pick them as focus competitors because we want to optimize based on the leading or the first ranking pages. We're optimizing the homepage here, so we don't put that one in, put the URL in. You can just stay the homepage. And this is where we really get into the nitty-gritty. So it doesn't just optimize for your main keyword, it also optimizes for variations, which is great. So we're getting all the keyword variations here. They all seem to be fine. You can delete certain things here. You can also reset the variations and then run this. And then the LSI terms. So everything that's linguistically related to that topic. So we're hitting topical authorities as well. So you always name that example, Kyle. It's not just the kitchen. You don't just sell kitchen counters. Google looks at everything that is in the kitchen. So kettles, hobs, microwave, and it's similar here.
For sure.
We get our score. We open the report.
So I can see that you're at like 82.6% there. Is that about what you're shooting for when doing the reports to get above 80%?
Yes, we're trying to get into the green. So we're trying to get above 80%. What is interesting with this client is main keyword is cultural awareness training. But when you look here in the section search engine title, they had some website changes recently. So although we're already at 82.6, we're missing the meta title and we're missing our main page title. So we're just working on the client with they had a problem with H1s. The H1s vanished when they changed the website template, and the same for the search engine title. So we're working on that with them to get our main keyword into the H1 again and into the meta title.
That's the fun of working with clients when they decide to update something on a website and it affects all of the titles they worked so hard on.
Yes, yeah, but they're usually quite good. Once we fixed it.
Once you get those titles sorted, though, the score is going to go much higher.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So obviously 82.6 is good, but we know this is an easy spot and it's an easy fix. So obviously we want to get to 100%.
So approximately how many pages do you think you've run through on their site and optimized them with POP?
Approximately, it must have been 15 plus.
Okay.
So there's a lot of
15.
pages we're optimizing with POP. Yes.
Yeah. And was this all existing content or was this new content that was being written?
Bit of both. So we had some new pages we were writing, especially for the 2023 endogenous referendum. When Australia had that referendum, we're doing a lot of content, or we built a lot of target pages around that topic. National Day in Australia was also a big topic, so we created new pages for that. But then also using pages that have potential on their site. So yeah, a bit of both.
So this is after you've run a POP report and then you're putting recommendations together. And these will be recommendations about things to do on page, but they would also include schema as well and stuff like that? Or is it just the words?
That's just the on-page recommendation. So that's just a word on the page, but we put it into a nice report. So it's easy for the client. And also you see changes are marked in yellow, green, red. Obviously they get all the data from the reports. But the main part for the client is really where we give them recommendations to change things.
Okay. So then,
and we mark them up.
You take their content, put this in the report, and then mark it up as to potential changes within their content.
Exactly. Yeah. So here are the changes. So that will be the H1 change. Also making meta title and description recommendations. But it's really, well, we present it to the client, so it's fairly easy to change. So they know what exactly they need to change and what stays the same.
Oh, very cool. And overall, clients are able to implement this. There isn't a roadblock in kind of getting this information and getting onto their site, at least in terms of the understanding what to do.
Yes, yeah, it's fairly easy. Sometimes you have back and forth with clients, obviously you can see in the comment section, just in terms of different phrasings, things like that. We work with their copy teams, copy and content teams, but it's, yeah, on the most part, it's fairly easy to implement because, yeah, it's there. It's color coded, it's highlighted, so it's fairly straightforward.
Very cool. Love that. Love that. Okay, so now let's get to the fun part. The results. How's this campaign gone?
It has been, like, this campaign has been a really, really great success. Before I show you the pages, I'll show you some overall success. So this was Australia Day last year. And this was the Australian National Day this year. So
Not
obviously the top there, that's a really nice graph. So their content is quite seasonal because you have those days of interest where traffic peaks. But that has been absolutely great. And when we compare like the last 3 months, even to the previous period, like clicks have increased by 16%, impressions have increased by 4.2%, click-through rate has increased by 12%, and the average position has increased by 2.6%. I always like when click-through rate also increases. That knows we're hitting the right intent and people are actually interested in the content and we're not just creating for content's sake. The average position is also increasing, which is great. And then the graph I just shown you, National Day of Australia on the 26th of January 2023 compared to 2024. So you see the graph, it's spiked. Very happy to see this one. But if we're comparing it year on year for the last 28 days, so in January around a time where there is interest for that particular day, yeah, we're seeing an 80% increase in clicks, which is amazing. 112% increase in impressions, 18% increase in click-through rate, and like we're stable average positions, but we're indexing for much more keywords. So there's a lot of new keywords in the mix as well.
That's an important point because when you gain more keywords, often your average position will go down just because now you're ranking for more keywords and they're lower. But if you gained a whole bunch of keywords to get all those extra impressions and then your average rank remained the same, that means that those are all ranking very well as soon as you got them, which is just fantastic.
Yeah. So if we're looking at the keyword analysis here, they're ranking for 372% more keywords, and the impressions on those keywords they've just shot up like over 1,000% increase, and clicks have increased by 4,000%. Like, these percentages are crazy. And yeah, even also we're ranking a lot more keywords in the top 3 positions, and also then on the first page in general. So again, increases of 600 to 500%, which is crazy. And then keeping the average position level, I think is a really good result.
That's actually really, really impressive, because usually what happens is you'll see those increases in the clicks and impressions, as I said before, but it will just naturally go down because those terms just aren't ranking as well. But if you're getting stable rankings with that percentage of increase in keywords, that means they're coming in when they're hitting high, and they're doing very, very well. So that's absolutely fantastic.
And also, like, if we take out branded keywords, then also the non-branded keywords, clicks and impressions are 5 times higher. So overall, they're getting really, really great results. So obviously branding is brand awareness is also increasing as part of the SEO, which is great. But if we're just looking at it from a non-brand keyword perspective as well, great results.
Those are the best. The non-branded ones are the absolute best, because those are just pure searches. Somebody not looking for that term plus the particular website or provider, but in this case, they're just looking for that type of thing, and getting it that's fantastic.
So in terms of the page that we are, that I've just shown you in POP that we've optimized, we're comparing the last 28 days to the same period last year. Again, it was around that day of interest. So I'm comparing year on year. We had a 36% increase in clicks, 86% increase in impressions, 31% increase in click-through rate, and again, a stable average position. But we are indexing again for a lot more keywords.
That is unbelievably awesome. I love that increase in impressions, that 86% increase in impressions. That's what I find POP is really helpful for, is essentially increasing the foot traffic that could come to your page. The amount of people that are seeing it in the SERPs going up is really, well, that's one of the things that POP does very, very well when people implement, and I'm really glad to see that.
No, definitely. And also optimizing page by page, because Google ranks pages, not websites. So having a keyword for each page and optimizing based on that, and looking at competitors that are already doing well within the space, I think it's a winning formula.
Absolutely fantastic. Love it.
Yeah. And then in terms of keywords, obviously you can see our cultural awareness training. Main target keyword has increased 8.7 positions. So we've gone from 18 to 9.7. But then also keywords that we haven't directly targeted, like cultural sensitivity training, but were mentioned within the content, have just basically come in at 10.5. Which is great. So straight in on the first page. And the same for cultural competency training, Aboriginal. So again, those keywords that were in the content, but they weren't main keywords, or they weren't secondary keywords, but we had them within the content and optimized based on competitors and what's out there. They've come straight in to the first page, which is great.
Excellent. Julia, thanks so much for coming on and sharing what you guys are doing. That was truly excellent.
Thank you. No, appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
All right. And thanks again. And thanks everyone for watching. And to your SEO success. Take care.